After that introduction, I'm ready to go home now. I mean, sure. I might say something to mess things up. Seriously, I want to first start off with just a couple of announcements before I get into my material here. As Brother Clark alluded, I've been in this thing called Omega for a little while, right? And this is my 4th time serving on the Supreme Council. And here's something that I often reflect on, and that's you don't get to these places in Omega by yourself. You can be the smartest, tack in the drawer, but that doesn't do it, right? It's because of folks like you all who support you day in and day out. It's like folks like you all who, even when you mess up, you take me behind closed doors and you smack me up and down and you send me back out here looking halfway decent. Y'all have done that for me for the last 36 years. And so I didn't want this moment to go unrecognized and to tell you all thank you from the bottom of my heart. I shudder to think where I would be without a number of you all who have poured into me for years. Where would I be without a Kenny Brown, who not only told me what I could possibly do, but actually showed me? Where would I be without a Gary Clark? Bob Fairchild. Where would I be? Matter of fact, Bob suspended us. Hey, where you at, Eric? Bob suspended us. They call it the Pizza Hut incident. Yeah, I ain't forgot that, Bob. But where would I be, man? I take the ups and I take the downs, man, because it all was a part of my upbringing. Rob Warren, one of my first chapter advisors, Marlon Allen, who gave me my test that I passed to get into the fraternity. I mean, I can just go around and around. So many people have poured into me. And so I didn't want to, again, miss this opportunity to say thank you. Brother Brown kind of alluded to something earlier. He said, make a friend. I'm going to tell you to do one even better. Turn to your neighbor to your left, turn to your neighbor to your right, and tell them you love them. Because the reality of the situation, yeah. Yeah, 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 that's right. And brothers, I'm going to tell you why that was significant. And brothers, I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to tell you why that was significant. Because the reality of the situation is somebody here tonight won't be here next year. That's real talk. That's where we are. And so we never want to miss these opportunities, man, to expound on that friendship piece. Friendship got to win in the end. My LB, I love you. I always give you a shout out no matter where I go. It's just us two, but we still here. We still in it. Love you too, baby. Right. And last but not least, I don't see him here, but many of you all know I call Brother Amos Townsend my father in the fraternity. He's like a cross between my dad and my big brother, all rolled up into one. And I'll never forget the night we went over, he got us thrown out of Tacoma Station. And he's been one of my main mentors through the years. And so, Frankie P. I mean, I ain't got to say no more. If you know Frankie P, I ain't got to say no more. It's right there, Frankie P. So let's get started, brothers. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice. We shall rejoice. We will rejoice and be glad in it. Good evening, everyone. As your first Vice Grand Basileus, I bring you greetings from my hometown here in Washington, D.C., and from the over 200,000 plus initiated Omega men, which are located in 18 countries, on 4 continents and across 19 time zones. To all the present, past, grand officers, current, past Supreme Council members, district, state, local chapter officers, and guests, I thank you for being here this evening. To all of the area DC area chapter bacilli that are represented here tonight, thank you for your leadership and service to Omega. A special thank you is hereby extended to each of the chapters for your many years of unwavering support and service to the Washington, D.C. community. And speaking of unwavering, none of us Omega men can do the work that we do without the love and support of our significant others, our wives and our children. They make the sacrifice to share their fathers and husbands with the communities we serve. I want to take a minute to thank our families for what they do for us and to thank them for their sacrifice. To the distinguished honorees, congratulations on your well-deserved recognitions. I'm honored to be with you here this evening, and it would not have happened if not for my good friend, Brother Larry Brown. Brother Brown, thank you for always extending the hand of friendship. This evening is about the achievement of the brothers of the DC area chapters and the great work that they're doing in this community. And again, we thank them for their service. I will take only a few minutes to expound on our Achievement Week theme, Omega Men, building a better society with friendship as the foundation. The origin of Achievement Week was originally born in 1920 at the 9th Grand Conclave in Nashville, Tennessee, by Brother Dr. Carter G. Woodson. So this year, we celebrate our 104-year anniversary of the origin of Achievement Week. Again, the theme, Omega Men, building a better society with friendship as the foundation. Well, as I read the theme over and over again, I pondered, how do we accomplish this? And how do we, Omega Men, intend to get there as we gather over the next few weeks to celebrate Achievement Week and the achievements of our beloved brothers? I submit to you that with friendship at the core and foundation of our organizational essence, we can do anything. We are the solution to the matters that affect our lives. We are the builders, and as builders, we are in the business of building strong men, strong fathers, strong families, and strong children, and strong communities. Builders build. Help build strong men through our mentoring programs. Builders are seers. They can see beyond the horizon. They see the impossible as an invitation to try just a little bit harder and to trust that all things will be all right. Builders create, and when we add new initiatives to the work we already do, such as Brothers, You're on My Mind, or perhaps the Fatherhood Initiative, or our STEM initiative, when we do these things, we are building our view of what our society should look like. Our society extends beyond just membership. The business of our fraternal society is bringing uplift to our people. Omega's business and our association with each other is grounded in friendship. Brothers, Omega Men are builders. We lay the foundation. And when we lay that foundation, we want it to be strong, supportive, and unwavering under the pressures that are sure to come. This we do because at the core of our foundation is friendship. In building this better society, I ask you, where do you stand on social and civic engagement issues such as health care, or educational funding, or racial injustice? Or how about criminal justice and criminal justice reform, as in this notion of stopping this school-to-prison pipeline? How about the climate crisis? And here's one we've heard a lot recently. How about voter suppression and election security? I submit to you the issues are many. I would encourage you to focus on what's important to you and your community, then chart a course of action that produces the society you envision. The number 4 is significant to all Omega Men. And here are 4 ways to build a better society with friendship as a foundation. Number 1, save our sons. We got to be involved in these mentoring programs, big brothers, big sisters. We got to keep our young men engaged through our STEM programs. Y'all know that STEM is now an Omega mandate. We got to help support mothers and fathers with their sons and grandsons. Fatherhood and mentoring is now an Omega mandate. I encourage you to start an investment club for African American young men to motivate them to save their money and prepare for generational wealth and social change. I also encourage you to start a Future Business Leaders of America to teach young men about politics and public policy and to be change agents in their respective communities. Number 2, I encourage you to participate in Brother, You're on My Mind. Call and check on a brother every Wednesday. Call and just see how he's doing. Don't call and talk about politics or why you ain't vote for me and, why you ain't bring the chicken over when I want to, don't talk about that. Hey, just how you doing? I just call to check on you. We got to do those things for one another's brothers. PTSD is real. COVID-19 is real. We got to take care of ourselves. Self-care is paramount. Number 3, save our HBCUs. Contribute and donate where you can. Yeah. It's an investment. It's an investment in our historical institutions. Number 4, invest in Omega. Pay your dues. And pay them on time. Reclaim a brother. And most of us ain't got to look too far. Check with your line, brother. I know everybody's line ain't financial. You ain't got to go far. Make a couple phone calls. I always say this, don't raise your hand just to be counted, but raise your hand to be counted on. It's a big difference. While building this better society, we must continue our legacy of providing uplift to local, national, and world communities. Omega's legacy is one of unbending service and courage. The decision to move forward with a chapter here at Howard University was no mistake. This was intentional, and it was done by way of serious thinking men. These men had courage. Courage like the men who stood up to President Thurkill, who suggested to the 3 undergraduates, go join that other fraternity on campus. He told the young men, there's no need for you guys to start a new fraternity here on campus. And at that time in 1911, Howard University had 1,500 students, and tuition was $165 a year. Because they, our founders, had courage, we can now say how good and how pleasant it is for brothers to dwell together in unity. These 3 undergraduates were friends through and through. Our founders were preparing for a legacy of service so that thousands of men would continue to make contributions to the continued development of Howard University, the community here in Washington, D.C., to this country, and even internationally. Men like we have here this evening. Let's look at the word friendship for a minute. Friendship, for most people, is a combination of affection, loyalty, love, respect, and trust. True friendship is when someone knows you better than yourself and helps you in a time of crisis. Friendship goes beyond just sharing time together. A friend comes in when others go out. No one does friendship better than the Omega Psi Phi fraternity because at the core, it's our foundation. What does Christ say about friendship? Proverbs 18:24. A man of many companions may come to ruin, but there is a friend who sticks closer to you than a brother. Omega's legacy, as we know it, it's about doing what we say we will do. Our fraternity has been successful in many ways through self-examination. And self-examination is nothing new for Omega men. Self-examination through consecrated usefulness, a blessed and sacred usefulness, not selfishness, not individual aggrandizement. It's the usefulness of helping others and making an impact. As I close, brothers, we have been charged by our founders and those who have come before us to adhere to the task of self-development and to contribute to our part of building Omega through a life of service and courage. We must live our 4 cardinal principles. Live manhood, live scholarship, live perseverance, live uplift. Share your blessings with others. The Bible is clear in Mark 25:40. What you do for the least of thee, you do unto me. If you can walk with kings and not lose the common touch, be a mentor to a young man, a young father, a young fraternity brother. Be that bridge builder. Now, this may be a tall order for the Kappas or the Iotas or them Sigmas and even the Alphas, but not for an Omega man. Because I don't know about you, I was taught that an Omega man does the difficult with ease and the impossible takes just a little longer. That's the way I was taught. As I close, I got one for you, and I don't want to talk about politics because I know people feel different ways on this last election. So I want to go back to when he was president or running for president, Brother Biden, Joe Biden. Joe Biden said something that stuck in my brain because I'd never heard a politician say this, and he said it with so much conviction. He said, I'm running so hard is because it feels like I'm fighting for the soul of America. Some of y'all may remember that. And after he said that, man, I said, man, he got so much conviction behind that statement. I started thinking about, the things that we do in Omega. And so I started asking the question, who am I fighting for? Who am I working for? And so that's my question for you tonight. Who and what are you fighting for? I'm going to say it again. Who and what are you fighting for? And I say it individually and collectively. Because if I can be honest, from my vantage point, it seems like we're fighting each other too often. And it has escalated now. That now it ain't bad enough that we're just fighting each other, but now we're shooting each other. Let's talk about it. This ain't Omega. That's not the Omega I know. And when you see something like that, brothers, it's incumbent upon you to step up and say something and do something about it. You got to be the change that you want to see in this organization. And I always say, if we got to fight, let us fight about how many scholarships we're going to give away. If we're going to fight, let's fight about how many backpacks we're going to buy for the middle school down the street. If we got to fight, let it be about something. Brothers, I just ask you to keep that in your forefront. Keep that question in your mind as you go about your fraternal year. Again, who and what are you fighting for? And brothers, as I close, I got to go off script for a minute because I just feel the need to say this. Brothers, we are a Christian-based organization. I don't have to tell you who our founders were. This organization is rooted in Christianity. And I have no problem telling you, man, that I love God. Yes, sir. If I was standing here by myself and I was the only one praising him, I'd do that. Yeah. Because, see, people done got it twisted. People all worry about this election and all that kind of stuff. God had his hand in whatever went on, God had his hand in it. God is still on the throne, and he's still answering prayer. You need to know that. Now, I don't know who this is for, but I got a feeling that God is telling me to tell you this. Don't leave him alone. God wants somebody to know, don't leave him alone, because he wouldn't leave you. That's the God I serve. My Bible school lesson tells me that he was in a borrowed tomb. And on the third day, he woke up not with a little bit of power, not with some power, but with all power in his hands. That's the God I serve. That's the God who's been watching out and preserving Omega for the last 113 years. That's my God. That's the God I serve. To the legacy of our founders, long live Frank Coleman. Long live Oscar J. Cooper. Long live Edgar Amos Love. Long live Dr. Ernest Everett Just. Long live the DC area chapters of Omega. Long live the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. And may God bless you, and may God keep you. Thank you.